Hey everybody, and welcome to Stock Picks by Tim. Today I'm going to get into what I see as some great opportunities in the market. I'm also going to briefly go over Bitcoin, what it's doing. And first off, we're going to go into Astra. Now, if you haven't been here before, make sure you like and subscribe. I put out daily videos. Make sure you check out the links below for some free crypto and stocks. And if you're returning, make sure you drop me a like. I definitely appreciate it, and it helps me out a lot. And without further ado, let's get into the video and start off with Astra. Now, first off, before I go into Astra, or ASTR, on the chart, I want to tell you that they just released their earnings a few days ago, and I'll leave you guys a link below in the description if you want to get into that. I go into the key points on their earnings, and I also had a previous video where I go over an interview with Chris Kemp, the CEO, and we've got a lot of things moving forwards. We've got another launch coming this month, another one coming next month, and I'd argue that by the end of this year, we will be looking at 2 launches a month. But that's just my prediction. Now, looking at Astra here on the chart, we did break our roughly $4 support. We're here at $3.79 right now. And it seems like we're trying to develop this previous resistance here as a support. And if we aren't able to hold this area as a support here, we're very likely to come down to about 350, 360. That would be our next level of support. But if you're looking at Astra as a long-term play, I definitely think it's a fantastic time to get into it. However, looking for it short-term, I'd look for a reversal to come in. We are getting pretty oversold on the RSI. We might level out here and start turning around. So if you're very short term, I wouldn't wait until we start seeing that turnaround. So I'm fully built out in Astra, and I believe in it for the long term. At its current market cap, it's a much better company than when it was even trading at 4 times its current market cap. We have 2 successful rockets under our belt, although we do have 1 failed rocket launch. But they got into why it was failed, and they rectified the solution, and we have since had a successful launch. I would say get in this one while there's pessimism in the market, while there's a lot of fear. And you know, the last couple of days, it's been a great opportunity to get in some of these small caps again. Alright, now that's enough about Astra. I wanted to get into Indie or INDI. And this is my favorite semiconductor play. I absolutely love it. Now, I did talk about Indie in my last video, but I want to go over the executive team here. And we're also going to check out the chart in a second. So first off, you'll see this green circle here around a few of the executives here. And this designates that they've been together for over 20 years. And you'll see that they were all together at Axiom, and that was actually a previous semiconductor company that they all worked at, and it ended up being sold to Skyworks. And I assume that Donald McCloyment, the CEO here, was the one behind the deal because he did have previous experience at Skyworks. But if you look at the entire executive team, you'll see that they all have a lot of experience in the semiconductor industry. And here's a quick glance at some of the auto manufacturers that Indie supplies chips to. We've got big names such as Tesla, Mercedes. We've got Geely, which is a big Chinese company. We got BMW, Audi, Porsche, a lot of Europeans. We've got Volvo, Nissan, Ferrari, Maserati. I mean, the list goes on, guys. I definitely believe in Indie long term, and I think it's a fantastic time to buy some stock. Now, I would personally argue that this area here, and here, these were overreactions. This was a lot of the fear, just the market conditions, a lot of negativity, and this isn't Indie. These prices are just overreactions. I think this base here at about 720 is a fantastic time to get in. However, if it breaks, it could definitely fall further. We could touch this, 670 area. But I'm very confident in Indie. While it's under $8, even honestly, while it's $10, I'd see it as a great time long term to average through. This was about a $16 stock, trading at around a $2 billion market cap. Now we're just right around a $1 billion market cap. I think they have huge growth potential ahead of them. And the CEO just said that their future guidance for next quarter, they're expecting the top of that. They're expecting their revenue to be at the high end of their expectations. So this is great for Indie. And like I said in the previous video, we're dealing with a semiconductor shortage, and Indie is still exceeding expectations. So this is great. We're seeing increased revenue. They've got very little debt. We're in an industry that is set to grow at about a 46 to 48% compound annual growth rate. So definitely don't sleep on Indie. It is my favorite semiconductor stock. And since it's such a small cap, I think it has a lot of room to run over the next few years. Now, keeping the semiconductor theme alive, I also covered this in my last video, but I still think AMD is a fantastic time to get in. We're sitting at $101, right around this $100 support area. If we do break 100, you might want to play that for a short. We might break further. But if you want to play it short term and want to play some options, if we do break 100, it's very likely we'll fall further as a breakout trade. So keep an eye on that level. Although looking at it mid to long term, I think it's a great time to get in at around $100. But if we do break this $100 level, we may fall further. But personally, I'm very confident in AMD for the long term. I think it's a great time to get in. However, looking at the RSI, we could come down further before we are oversold. But personally, I wouldn't pass up this deal. I think it's a great time to get into it. And like I said, the semiconductor industry is going to continue to grow. Everything needs semiconductors. For example, cars nowadays need about 1,000 semiconductors. And as a side note, that's why I'm so bullish on Indie. But AMD I think is also a great choice. It is definitely larger cap. You're probably not going to see it 3 to 5x over the few years like I think Indie will. But I still think AMD is a very solid pick, especially at its price of about $100. Now moving on, I wanted to get into bionano genomics stock, or Bngo. Now I absolutely love this company. I love their product, their optical genome mapping device. And I think it's going to disrupt the genome industry. A lot of these other products are used in conjunction with the optical genome mapping device, but in some cases you can use Bngo's device and get a lot more efficiency and save time. So you're saving time, you're saving money, things are more efficient using bionano's device. It's just kind of a matter of getting it out there. And they are expected to double the current OGMs out there in the market throughout 2022. So we are still very early. This product is still very new, and hospitals are still learning how to use it and how to actually understand how it works. So that's one thing you got to consider over time. Over time, I think the OGM optical genome mapping device is going to receive a lot more support in the medical community, and it's already getting a lot of support. And if you're curious about bionano genomics, there's actually a previous conference. I'll leave you guys a link below if you want to check that out. But it goes into a little more detail about their OGM. Now, looking at bionano on the chart, we did break this ascending channel. We also broke the 300 MA, and we're trying to develop this support. We're trying to develop this like 230 areas of support. I think if we break out of it, it's kind of a bit of a hazy support, I'd say. So we might break down, and we'll likely see roughly $2. I think that could be a decent support here for bionano. But looking at the RSI though, it is oversold. It could go a little bit farther down. But you could argue if we do have a decent day tomorrow, bionano will push back up. And we'll find resistance right around 250. That's where we seem to find resistance until we break out of it. So keep an eye on that 250. I think if we in fact do have a decent day tomorrow, which I would expect, we've had 2 pretty rough days in a row. So if the market does kind of slightly recover, bionano will probably push that 250 area. I don't expect it to push much past 250. I think we're going to kind of just chop around, develop some supports in this area. But I definitely love bionano genomics on the long term. I think it's a great time to add to my long-term position. However, short term, look out for about $2. See if we hold that as a support. I think it can come down a little bit more because this here isn't necessarily a clear support. We might develop it as a support, but I would personally expect it to come down just a little bit more and test some lower levels. Alright, now I wanted to briefly go over CleanSpark and Bitcoin. Now it does seem like we're establishing our support like I was hoping for, right around this resistance area that we had. This 1071 to about 1120 zone, we are trying to hold as a support. But keep an eye on CleanSpark. If we do break from this trend line, those technical traders are going to see this and we're likely to sell off a bit, come towards about $9. However, I personally don't expect CleanSpark to come much under $10. And I've said a long time ago that, under $10 is a gift while it's under there. It's not going to be under there for long. Might have one last time that we could actually get in under $10. We might get lucky there. I'm extremely bullish on CleanSpark. They're profitable. Their revenue continues to increase. And it's a very slept on stock. I mean, I'm telling you right now. Look into the Bitcoin miners and you'll see that CleanSpark is criminally undervalued. Now looking at Bitcoin, we became a falling knife once we broke this trend here. We did break this 44.4. I was hoping that this would hold, but we did break it. Now it seems like we're trying to hold this 43 area. But this is good because this is right around this resistance level. So I like this. I like that our areas of resistance are now becoming a support. This is important for Bitcoin. And like I said before, I like this kind of a run up. This is sustainable. A run too far, too fast, not sustainable. So I do think this area here is a pretty solid place for Bitcoin. I think it's going to develop support here before we push higher. So personally, I'm definitely okay with adding Bitcoin. I think it's a golden opportunity while we have dips like this to add to Bitcoin. And I'm going to take advantage of it. Now this is also causing other cryptos to drop. VGX, for example, is sitting at roughly 160. I think that's a great time to get in as well. DOT's sitting right around under 20. I think that's great. Cardano's sitting at like 106. That's another great place to add. Ethereum sitting in the low threes. So I'm taking advantage of crypto currently while we're showing a little bit of fear. But I'm loving the chart lately. Keep an eye on this trend line as well. Okay, we may fall from this and fall farther. So keep an eye. I want to see us develop this as a support and start running back up. Push that 44.4. That might become a resistance. I want to see it break that. And then we're going to work our way back up to 48. And hopefully this time we will break out of that. But I'm liking Bitcoin. I like seeing that we're developing support. We aren't just dropping crazily. But we can definitely come to about 43.4. And if we do drop from there, I would expect us to drop a bit farther. But 43.3, 43.4, if we break from there, that's going to be breaking from these areas. And we may likely come down to about 42. So keep an eye on Bitcoin. Keep an eye on this trend line as well. Make sure we don't break out of that. That could give us some more bearishness. But I'm definitely liking Bitcoin where it's at. I think it's very, very, well suited for an average in. And finally, I wanted to touch on Matterport or MTTR. And it looks like we're trying to develop a support right here about 720. There is kind of a range that we trade in. So we may trade in this 740 to about 670 area. Try to develop support here. I really like it around this area. I mean, you can tell it looks like we're kind of consolidating. There's a little bit of choppiness, but we're consolidating. We are no longer a falling knife. I think it's a great time to add into Matterport. Now, if you're shorter term on this, wait for that 300 MA. Once we break out of that, that'll be good. But also, you want to watch the NASDAQ and see what that's doing. This is a tech play. A lot of these are tech plays. So if tech does continue downwards, these will likely see some headwinds. But, I would definitely keep an eye on NASDAQ as well. Just keep an eye on the overall market, because that's going to dictate a lot where kind of Matterport's going to go. And I mean, it was the overall market that caused this to drop from this roughly $30 area. The fear of the Fed raising interest rates definitely hurt Matterport. There's another catalyst like the insider lockup expiration, the warrant redemption. So, there's definitely a lot of headwinds with Matterport from when it was about a $30 stock. But I would personally say that now's a great time to get in. We have hit a base of about 620. We quickly bounced from there, went to almost 10, and now we're back at about 720. I think it's a great time to get into Matterport, and this is one of my metaverse plays. But that's basically all I got for you guys today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I do put out daily videos, and until next time, take it easy.